Hello and welcome, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. I hope everyone had a wonderful day so far. I'm Tushar Mehta, the VP of Programming at ATD Long Island, and I will be co-hosting tonight's session aligned with the inner leader. When you get a chance, as I mentioned earlier, you can share your information in the chat. And again, this session will be approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes. And there will be a question and answer session in the end. And we'll be choosing breakout breakout sessions. It would be nice if you could share your videos so you can engage with your breakout room partners. Again, for the audios, please keep your audio on mute during the presentation to avoid distractions. And if you feel like asking any question, please go ahead and type them in the chat box. Stephanie will answer them throughout. And the recording and the slides of this session will be shared through your chapter, actually. Stephanie, can you just go to the next slide, please?
Sure.
So Stephanie Burke is a highly skilled and passionate leadership coach with a wealth of experience in personal and professional development, with a focus on empowering individuals to become their best selves. Stephanie is dedicated to helping people unlock their inner potential and achieve their goals. With over 25 years of experience in human resources, Stephanie has worked with a diverse range of clients, from executives and entrepreneurs to students and professionals. She now works with organizations to support the leaders at all levels to strengthen their leadership skills, develop high-performing teams, and create a greater result. As a certified coach and trainer, Stephanie has a deep understanding of the challenges individuals face in today's fast-paced and ever-changing world. She uses a variety of techniques, including mindfulness, values clarification, and life planning, to help individuals develop their leadership skills and align their lives with their purpose. With that, I call upon Stephanie to present tonight's session. Stephanie, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Tushar, and thank you for everybody for coming tonight. I really hope that you meet your expectations of our presentation. I will do my best to do that. One of the things I have prepared for you that complements the session is a workbook that Tushar will share in the chat for you to download. It's a fillable PDF, so if you have the capability, you can use it tonight to take notes. If you can't type in it, all you will really need is a pen and a piece of paper for some of the work that we're going to do. The workbook also has exercises in it to help you further your learning and deepen your learning about some of the key characteristics of the inner leader, with some reflection questions that we're not going to go through tonight, but rather after the session, you can spend some time reflecting on them to help you deepen your understanding of how you can strengthen your inner leader. So what you'll learn tonight is understanding who your inner leader is. You will define your core values. You will create, or at least attempt to create, a life purpose statement and goals that align with it. and you will access your inner leader's strengths, or you will assess, and maybe you'll access them as well, your inner leader's strengths, weaknesses, and potential areas for growth. You'll learn how to use a mind map to plot out your goals. And we will close our session with a brief meditation to do some mindfulness work. So the concept of an inner leader can be thought of as the inner qualities and abilities that enable a person to lead themselves effectively. It refers to the person's self-awareness, their self-regulation, and self-motivation. The ability to direct one's own thoughts, emotions, and actions towards achieving their aspirations. So the inner leader emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility and self-reliance in leadership, and suggests that the true leadership begins with leading oneself before leading others. By developing our own inner leadership skills, we can become more effective and successful in both our personal and professional lives. So this, I believe, will be very useful to you, even if you don't lead people in the work that you do. Because ultimately, we all have to lead ourselves in order to lead full and complete lives. So self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-motivation are the key elements of the inner leader. So let's take a closer look at each of them. So self-awareness refers to the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Self-awareness is important to leaders because it allows them to understand their own strengths and weaknesses and how they react to certain situations and how they impact others. It helps leaders to be more mindful of their own behavior and how it affects people around them, right? Now, self-regulation refers to the ability to have control over one's own emotions and impulses. So leaders who have strong regulation skills, self-regulation skills, are better able to manage stress and remain calm under pressure. They're able to make more rational decisions and avoid impulsive behaviors that can lead to negative outcomes. Self-regulation is also important for leaders because it helps them to maintain their integrity and be consistent in their actions and decisions. So self-motivation, the final key element, refers to the ability to motivate oneself and stay focused on goals, even in the face of obstacles and challenges. So leaders who have strong self-motivation skills are more resilient and persistent, and which allows them to persevere through difficult times. They are also able to inspire and motivate others to achieve their goals. So overall, developing self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-motivation are essential for leaders to be effective in their roles. By cultivating those inner leadership skills, leaders can lead with authenticity, empathy, and resilience. So some examples of famous leaders who demonstrate these characteristics of the inner leader are Nelson Mandela, right? Because he had strong self-motivation and resilience, which helped him to persevere through long, difficult times while he was imprisoned, right? His inner leadership skills allowed him to unite a divided nation and inspire a generation to work towards a better future. Oprah Winfrey has strong self-awareness and self-regulation have been keys to her success, right? She's known for her ability to connect with other people on a deep level, right? Which is basically a result of her ability to connect with and understand her own emotions and experiences. Mahatma Gandhi. So I'm using like really famous people that I'm hoping most of you have been somewhat familiar with their life stories, right? So Gandhi had strong inner leadership skills to lead a nonviolent revolution. His self-awareness helped him to understand the impact of his actions on others, and his self-regulation allowed him to remain nonviolent in the face of great provocation, right? His self-motivation and resilience helped him to persevere through many setbacks and ultimately achieve his goal of Indian independence and social justice. So this is a self-assessment that, and actually we're going to do 3 self-assessments, one for strengths, one for weaknesses, and one for growth opportunities. And I'm going to read through these key terms again, and then Tashar is going to put up on the screen a poll where you get to anonymously select where you fall on a scale from 1 to 5. And I'll explain the scale when we put the poll up. So self-awareness is the ability to understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Self-regulation, the ability to manage your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in a constructive manner. Self-motivation is the ability to set and pursue goals independently. Emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. And having a positive mindset is having a positive outlook on life and a belief in one's own abilities. So Tashar, can you put the poll up?
Sure.
So in this poll, you may not be able to see, as it came up on my screen, and I couldn't see it either, the scale to select. So you have to hover over the line in order to have the scale pop up in a pop-up box where you would select from 1 to 5. So 1 is having a high need for growth in the following. So the statement is, I have a high need for growth in the following aspects of my inner leader. So a rating of 5 means you strongly agree that you have a high need for growth. And a rating of 1 means you strongly disagree that you have a high need for growth in that area.
So let's give 1 more minute. Okay, going once, going twice, and poll.
Okay. So thank you everyone for participating, and we will share the results. So color of the line indicates the number of respondents for each of the categories. So self-awareness, it looks like a large number of people felt that they do not have a strong need for growth. I would say the majority of people fell into the categories of 1, 2, and 3. Self-regulation as well.
And if you hover, Stephanie, if you hover over the results for each question, it'll show you the breakdown.
Right. Okay. So thank you. So yeah, so if you do that, you can see. So I feel from this group in this survey, we're kind of distributed fairly evenly across all three aspects, which is great. And the first step to improving is always that self-awareness aspect. And so hopefully the assessment helped you in that area. So moving on to the next assessment is your areas of weakness. So impulsiveness is a tendency to act without thinking and leading to unwise decisions. Self-doubt is a lack of confidence in your own abilities and decision-making. Negative self-talk, a tendency to focus on negative thoughts and emotions, leading to low motivation and self-esteem. And avoidance of challenges is a tendency to shy away from difficult or uncomfortable situations. So now we're all pros at answering these questions. If Tashar, you can put the
Sure.
poll up. So if you go ahead and make your selections, again, the statement is I have a high need for growth in the following areas. So if you strongly agree with that statement, you would pick 5. And if you disagree that you have a need for growth, which means you feel pretty comfortable in that skill, you would pick a 1. Now, I will take this moment just to let you know that in your workbook, each of these assessments are in your workbook, more towards the back of it. So as you look at the workbook later and you want to, take another look at these assessments and record your answers so that later on, as you do more of this inner work, you can measure your growth by going back to those assessments later and redoing them and seeing if you are scoring yourselves any differently.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll right now. So let's see the results.
So again, if you hover over each line, you can see the results of those. Very interesting. We do not we have very few people who think they have to get a better handle on their impulsiveness.
Stephanie, Denise has her hand up.
Sure. Yes, Denise.
Yeah, thanks very much. So it was interesting because in terms of impulsiveness, I don't think that I am. However, if we relate, what I'm interested in knowing is the differentiation between impulsiveness as defined here and the it's not an impulse, but the behavior to take action. So we see that a lot with in D, dominance and DISC, right? Or even in leader competencies, right? Like taking action. So because I think there's probably a fine line there. How would you define the difference between impulsiveness and somebody just with the proclivity to take action?
So I would define it differently. So somebody who has the proclivity to take action is decisive, right? They know what they want, then they can make a decision to go and pursue it. And they measure the environment and they make a quick decision as to whether or not they should move forward. So I think it's different than being impulsive. So impulsive is usually just acting out of emotion. And yeah, sometimes you're right. Sometimes that can work out for you, right? But a lot of the times when we're impulsive, we're making decisions without thinking them through and therefore don't make educated decisions all the time if we're impulsive.
That's a great distinction. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're gonna move to the next slide, which is areas for growth. And those 5 areas are communication skills, time management, empathy, resilience, and mindfulness. So moving through those, I mean, I think most of those are self-explanatory. Mindfulness, I'd like to dive a little deeper in and explain, and that's, practicing mindfulness is about being present in the current moment. It's by identifying one's inner leadership strengths and weaknesses, as well as potentials for growth. Somebody can develop a plan for personal growth and development and take steps to become the best version of themselves, right? So being mindful is, being aware and present in the moment. And I thank you all for being present in this moment. And Tasha, would you share the last survey? I mean, the
Sure.
last poll. So again, on a scale of 1 to 5, the statement is I have a high need for growth in the following aspects of my inner leader. And 5 is you strongly agree with that statement, and 1 would you strongly disagree.
Okay, going once, twice, and pull.
So it's good to see again here as well that we are all pretty confident in a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us are pretty confident in these skills. While some of us have identified a need for growth. So that's good too. And mindfulness is an area that probably has the most respondents saying there's a need for growth. And it's quite understandable. It's in the world we live in where we're bombarded by distractions. It's very hard to always stay mindful and be in the present moment. So thank you for that, Tushar. So we're going to move on to the next aspect. Does anybody have any questions about this section so far? Okay. We're going to move on to the second section of the presentation, and that is, what's necessary to have this alignment with your inner leader, right? And there's 3 key things. It's your values, your goals, and your purpose, right? So we are going to do a value exercise, and the values are in your workbook on, I don't know if my edition doesn't have the page numbers, but I think it's page 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 is a list of values, but I'm going to read through them. And I'm going to ask you to jot down the ones. If you have the workbook and you're able to write in it, you can circle the values that resonate with you. If you don't, just jot down the ones that feel like a value of yours, right? Don't worry about ranking them out of the box. You just want to get a list of values that are important to you, right? Then we will go back through them. I will ask you to prioritize your values, right? Decide which ones are most important in your life and circle them, number them, prioritize them, right? So, some common values are honesty, integrity, family, community, success, personal growth. But I'm going to read down through a list that mirrors what's in the workbook. And if you, you haven't had an opportunity to open the workbook, print the workbook, and, at any point, so the purpose of having is you can go back to it and you can do this exercise again, and go through it. So, one of the things that is interesting about values is that the values that you pick today can change, right? Circumstances happen in our lives that cause us to shift our values, right? And I always like to give the example of when I was young, youngster right out of college, single, my priority was getting ahead. I would work long hours, and it was all about the job and how to, go into work functions, and I lived and breathed my job. Then I got married and had children, and my values shifted, right? So no longer was success, although it was still a value and it was still very important to me, but my family became my top value, right? And so my values shifted, and that happens throughout our lives. But so for today's exercise, I'm going to be asking you to prioritize them. And as we go through that, you'll be thinking about which values are most important to you and which values do you have that are non-negotiable, right? Knowing your values helps you to live a life of where it makes making decisions simpler, right? If you have a decision to face and you get that nagging feeling in your gut, and the decision that you think you should make is different than what your gut is telling you should do, it's usually because you are out of alignment. That decision is out of alignment with a key core value. So it does help you to make conscious decisions to live a life aligned with your values. So here we go. And these are in no particular order. So if it resonates with you, jot it down. Abundance, acceptance, appreciation, balance, cheerfulness, growth, compassion, encouragement, health, fun, wealth, inclusiveness, personal development, happiness, security, freedom, intuition, thankfulness, exploration. If I'm going too fast, holler out. Kindness, thoughtfulness, spirituality, humor, mindfulness, well-being, inspiration, independence, making a difference, open-mindedness, achievement, relationships, inspiration, joy, optimism, playfulness, adventure, patience, honesty, integrity, respect, responsibility, empathy, creativity, loyalty, humility, diversity, authenticity, trustworthiness, excellence, which I may have spelt wrong in the workbook, fairness, perseverance, courage, self-discipline, tolerance, minimalism, and innovation. Now, if there's something you value that I did not mention, you can write it down, because actually, I don't think I said family. No, I did not. So, family is another one. Connection could be another one. So there's a lot of things, and you might look at this list and you might go, oh my God, I value all that stuff, right? Which would be perfectly normal, right? But the concept here now is to look at your list and to narrow it down to your top 5 or 10, right? And then, so those you would write down in your workbook on the page for core values, or right now, circle them on your page. And then try to narrow it even further. Out of that list, what's the most important to you? Which one of those things is non-negotiable, right? For me, that's integrity. And I can't violate that. Because for me, my integrity is super important to me. And I can't make a decision that compromises my integrity. So, and then there's others. So, I can't see you. I'm going to put your faces back up here for a second. So, see where you're at with the exercise. So we're going to move forward to the next part of this process. So we are going to attempt to, so we're going to continue moving forward with how to create a life purpose. So your life purpose is based on your values, your interests, skills, and passions. What has been truly meaningful to you in your life, and what goals would align with that purpose, right? So now this is a big bucket, right? And a lot of us can spend our whole lives trying to figure out what our life purpose is. But hopefully this exercise will help you get closer to that. So starting here, you're going to reflect on your values, right? What is most important to you? What do you stand for? Right? Understanding your values can really help you clarify what you want to achieve and how you want to live your life. So just spend a moment and maybe jot down some thoughts about what comes to mind when you think about those questions about your values. And it doesn't have to be a big, bodacious goal, right? A lot of times we think of life purpose and we're like, save the planet, end global warming, right? Stop hunger, wipe out crime. I don't know, right? But those are big, honorable missions that some people have, and you probably know those people, seeing them on social media and on the news. But that doesn't mean that your life purpose has to be that grand, right? Your life purpose can be to, for example, and I'm going to give you some examples as we move forward in this, but mine is to help people live to their fullest potential. And when I looked back, when I was creating that, and I looked back at my life and my values and things I have done, I realized that my career in human resources has always been about helping people to reach their full potential. And then as I raised my family, I was trying to have my kids reach their full potential. Still working on my husband, but that's a whole nother story.
Stephanie,
Yes,
so James has comment in the
yes.
that area. Maybe you can respond to that too.
Yes. Okay. So James is asking that, you know, he feels like picking 5 means he does not value the others. And no, that's not it. So out of that list, you probably value 24 of them, right? It's a matter though of what's non-negotiable. What are your highest values in your life? And you might not be able to answer that question on this call, right? This is work that you may want to spend some time in reflection about. So picking your top 5 doesn't mean that the others are not meaningful to you, because they will still come up. So I hope, does that help, James?
Yeah, I was reading ahead in the book, and so I could see absolutely how cool, like how nice it would be to have some of that directed goal, the plan. And then I'm thinking though that it would be just like you have long-term goals, medium, short-term goals. Maybe you have those higher values that are all in a statement, and then you have some that are kind of like mediums. Like you said, integrity would be your highest with like 4 other ones.
Right.
And then in the middle, you have a couple others.
Right. And sometimes they compete with each other, right? So you can have goals that are, values that are very important to you. And where 2 of them are equally important, and you're trying to make a decision, but you have values in both areas. You value both those things, right? Somebody who values fun and also values success and finds that those both are in their top 5 may be in conflict sometimes when, do they go out and have fun when they really should be working on something that's important to their business, right? So you can have values that sometimes conflict with each other and compete with each other. And that's
And then also Andy actually had a comment in the chat.
okay. And I just want to finish James' others comment, which is, can we have a couple of life purposes with different values in each of them? So you really want to try to narrow your purpose statement, but your purpose statement can, and I'm going to give you an example of a complex life purpose statement where several values are integrated into one life purpose statement. So stick with me and you'll get some more clarity on that. So Andy said distilling themes, so one word could be more clear representative of the theme, right? And compassion encompasses a lot of other values. So sometimes what we do, and we don't have time in this limited session because really this is kind of work that you can do over quite an extended period of time, but we call it value streaming. And oftentimes we take similar values and put them together in a grouping, right? Because they're all, like, for some people, fun, adventure, playfulness, and
exploration.
Thank you. Can all be lumped together and be in a value string, right? Is the word I was looking, that string. So we also do value stringing. So you can do that as well. And then to Andy's point, giving it a theme, right? So that theme could be travel, right? Or giving it a headline so that all those things you value are together in a string. So that is definitely, thank you for pointing that out. That you can definitely do that as well. So the next step, once you do So once you have your values, as you're putting together your life purpose statement, and checking the time. So you will want to reflect on your areas of interest, skills, and passion. So just take a moment. We're going to give you 1 minute to jot down what are the things you enjoy doing, right? What are you good at? What deeply interests you? And like, don't try to think about it too much. Let this be spontaneous. What comes out of you when you think about what you're interested in? You have spare time. What would you rather spend it doing than anything else? Right? And then potentially, what are your skills? What are you passionate about? And jot that down. And there is a place in the workbook for that if you have it open, where you could jot that down. All right. Oops. Okay, so the next thing I just want you to think about and jot down is to reflect on your life experiences. It's a big ask, right? You've had a long life, but what has shaped you? What are some of the experiences that have had the biggest impact on your life, right? And again, this might not be something you can get through tonight. I could give you a minute to jot some things down that come to mind. But reflecting on your past experiences can also help you identify patterns to gain insights into what is truly meaningful for you. So just 1 minute. Okay. So now you could say, wow, there was a lot of stuff to try to do in 3 minutes. And I agree with you. So again, that's why I put together the workbook, because, you know, you can take this away with you and continue to refine it and work on it to get to some clarity on this. So I'm going to give you an example that I have in the workbook about a life purpose statement using core values and passions, right? So, because this is the next step, I'm going to give you another minute to do this. And again, you're going to be, that's not enough time. But after that, we're going to put you in breakout rooms of 3 to share with each other, and you'll have 2 minutes each. What your core values are, your interests, and what you came up with for your, as Brene Brown would say, your shitty first draft of your life purpose statement. Because it's something you're going to need to continue to work on. So this is an example, and this is, as James mentioned, where you can combine different things to get, you know, this is a bit of a more complex. Right? Mine is really simple. It's like 6 words, but you can have a more complex purpose statement. So if your core values are creativity, compassion, and adventure, and you're passionate about writing and traveling, and you have a strength in communications, your life purpose statement might be, my purpose in life is to use my creativity and love for writing to inspire others and spread compassion while exploring new places and having adventures. Through my writing and communication skills, I aim to make a positive impact on the world and help others see beauty in life. Right? I mean, it's very poetically written. And you'd be like, wow, I want to be that person. But it's not exactly my own life purpose. So I'm going to give you another minute to see if you can draft a purpose statement that kind of reflects your values and strengths and interests and passions. And if you need to put it in several sentences before you can get it to be concise, that's fine too. So 1 minute, starting now. So time's up. That was actually a little more than a minute. But that goes fast, right? So the next step that we're going to do after the breakout sessions is to talk about setting specific achievable goals and some tools using a mind map to how to do that. So the goal eventually for all of us is to set life goals that are achievable, that align with our purpose. So when we do that, and when you have goals that are aligned with your purpose, you have a greater potential of achieving them. So in this next session, if you can, so we're going to go into groups of 3, and you are going to share with your partner what you think your life purpose might be and how it aligns with your key values, interests, or passions. And it's okay for it not to be sure what that looks like. Sometimes just talking it through with another helps us to just realize some more clarity. So Tushar, can you launch people into the breakout rooms?
Yeah, Paul is on it.
Oh, Paul. Okay. You'll have 2 minutes. We'll give you a 2-minute warning before the end. And try to remember to switch with your partner at 2-minute mark.
Okay, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. We had a great group and a great discussion. It was really, I'm not sure we accomplished our goal, but we had a great discussion.
Well,
Good.
you can't ask for much more than having a great discussion.
Yeah, great group of people.
Good.
Yeah, our entire life purpose in like a minute was a little tough.
Right. And I reckon, right. But that's why I created the workbook for everybody. So you can take that away and spend some time, in reflection and continue to work on it for the rest of your life. Your life purpose will also change as you move through different phases in your life. You might find that today's life purpose differs from your life purpose 5 years from now, as you move through different stages of your life.
And the breakout rooms will close on the people inside them in about 15, 20 seconds. So everybody should be back then.
Okay. Yeah, because then we got to move on. I have some big items to cover that we're not actually going to do the work on. We're going to talk about conceptually, and it will be a takeaway for you to work on.
So everyone should be back.
Okay, we may have lost a couple of people in the process, which is fine. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. The exercise, as somebody said when they came back into this room, was a lot to do in very little time. And I understand that. And this is a very compressed exercises that, you could work on for weeks with someone. And you could actually, you could spend, the rest of your life working on it. It's actually a great exercise to do at the beginning of every year, right? Or you might pick a beginning of a season that's important to you. Maybe you want to do this at spring solstice, right? Maybe it's that to you is a sign of rebirth, and you want to do this every year at that time. But it's great. It's great to visit it, revisit it once a year. Once you get something controlled. Oh, sorry, James. The next part of this is creating a mind map. So a mind map is a diagram that is used to visually organize and represent information. It helps you to enhance creativity and brainstorming. And this is just what's up on the screen is just one example of what they look like. You know, there's other ways that you can, I'm going to show you another one in a minute, but there's ways you can plot these out. And one of the best approaches to creating goals is to start, and in the workbook, there's a page that has 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 years, where you would create mind maps around big goals for those different, 1 year from now, what do you want to have hope to achieve? 3 years from now, what do you have hope to achieve? 5 years, 10 years, and the end of your life, right? And again, you're not going to do that now because that takes a lot of reflection and focus. But that helps you to then break those goals down into, you would take your 1 year goals and then break them down into quarterly and then break them down into monthly. So goal set, that's a really condensed goal setting summary. But using the mind map to do that helps you to it facilitates problem solving. It encourages critical thinking skills. It improves communication. You can use this with groups. You could use this with teams in a work environment. They're great tools to help encourage creativity and innovative thinking. And you can start with categories when you're thinking about, well, I don't know what I want 1 year from now, 3 years from now. Think about categories: relationships, health, financial, career. I mean, these are some examples up here on the screen. Maybe it's mental health for you. Maybe it's balance in your life. So, whatever it is, you can create big buckets and then work down from there. So this is another example of a mind map that's done a little bit more creatively, right? So less formal, just the big buckets, and then, writing down different things that you want to achieve that relate to each of those big buckets. So this is based on a year. And you, from here, you would break it down into quarters and then monthly. So James asked about SMART goals. And yes, so as you are creating your mind maps and setting up goals for yourself, definitely think about and more more when you are doing your more specific goals. You want to think about have them be specific, measurable, achievable. I always get the R. Relevant and time bound, right? So when you set up your goals for a quarter, you're setting forth, what is it I want to achieve by this date? And then in order to do that, what do I have to do monthly to do that? And then, from your monthly goals, and I'm sure a lot of you are already doing something similar, especially if you have a business. And there's pages in the workbook to do that. So with 5 minutes left. Does there anybody have any questions on any of this information before we go into our closing meditation? Okay, so I would ask you to please find a be comfortable, and close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath and breathe in and exhale slowly. I am going to take you through a guided meditation. And at the end of the meditation, I will ring my little sound bowl, my new toy, to bring you back. And I'll ring it 3 times to bring you back into the room. So take another deep breath, breathe in, and exhale slowly. Then breathe in one more time. Deep breath in and exhale slowly. So bring your focus to your breath. Notice the sensation of the air moving in and out of your body. Let go of any thoughts or distractions and simply focus on your breath. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in a peaceful, calm place, surrounded by nature. Now, in this place, picture yourself standing in front of a large mirror. As you look into the mirror, imagine yourself as your inner leader, the best version of yourself. See yourself with confidence, wisdom, and courage. Take a moment and reflect on what it feels like to be your inner leader. What qualities do you embody? What does it feel like to have confidence, wisdom, and courage? As you continue to focus on your inner leader, imagine that this confident and wise version of yourself is communicating with you. What words of encouragement or guidance does your inner leader have for you today? Listen carefully for the message. Take another deep breath. And imagine bringing the qualities of your inner leader into your everyday life. See yourself carrying the confidence, wisdom, and courage that you embody in this meditation into the world. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Take a moment to reflect on the insights you've gained and the guidance you received from your inner leader. And if you had heard a message and had some specific thoughts about what your inner leader was telling you, take a moment and jot those down. Now, this meditation can be done anytime, anywhere, and can help you to connect with your inner leader and tap into your inner strength, wisdom, and courage. So that concludes our session for today. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to share?
Some of the people in my group said, you know, what a great resource the workbook is, Stephanie, and that so many of these things require, you know, visiting, revisiting, deeper thinking, and they felt like the workbook, well, I'm adding this part, I think they feel like the workbook could help with that, and I certainly feel that way, so very well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you, Stephanie, for this wonderful session. And again, these the recording and the slides will be available on the chapter websites. And we'll see you next month. This will be a session hosted by New Jersey chapter.
Yep.
Yes.
It's Karen North, exploring the future of learning and development via the ATD capability model. That's Wednesday, May 31st.
If you have any,
Stephanie, thanks for your time. It was a good session.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
a wonderful evening, everybody.
You too. Take care.
For the recording of the session, I just want to get Stephanie going through that mantra at the end, and then I can play that whenever I'm on the subway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to make that clip for you, James.
But by the way, in my group, when we were talking, Matt Sinelli here was biking the whole time. Talk about giving me some motivation.
Oh my.
Actually, he is biking right now.
Matt does that all the time.
I was hoping he wasn't closing his eyes while he was biking.
I was thinking the same
No,
thing.
just-
I hope you pulled over, Matt.
Yes, just focusing the guidance, and I'm home now. So thank you so much.
Have a good one, everyone.
Welcome.